Hello and welcome to Bricks. I'm Adam and this is Bricks. This is my channel for reviewing Lego sets and building them and other Lego related stuff. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new Lego Star Wars Droideka set. This is set number 75381. It has 583 pieces and I paid $65 for this set. This is one of the new sets for May the 4th or May 1st, 2024. I was actually able to get this a little bit early, but I wasn't in the place to be able to record a video and get this up early, so I am still recording this relatively, I guess at the beginning of May, but not early, even though I was able to purchase this early. Not that it matters that much. I paid retail for it, $65, a little less than 600 pieces, and this is one of the newer sets that I was really excited about. I like display-oriented sets, 18-plus sets, and this Droideka hasn't been represented in Lego that many times, and so I was really excited about this. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm excited to see what it all has to offer. So in this video, I'm going to open this up, I'm going to put this together, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on it. So while I build, I will speed the video up, and then I'll slow it back down to review this set. So until then, enjoy! Okay, so while we go over the build for this Lego Star Wars Droideka buildable model, I just wanted to say thanks for watching and then remind you, if you like this video, click the thumbs up. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button. That helps me a lot. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers and I appreciate all the help. It means a lot to me, so thank you very much. And then I'm going to talk about the build. So I actually wasn't 100% certain what part of the final model we started off building here, but I did start to realize it pretty quickly, towards the end of the first bag, and I was really impressed overall with how well balanced this model is and how dense and bulk some of the building is. So for the main kind of, I'm going to refer to areas of the Droideka as body parts, even though it's not the same thing, but kind of the waist, abdominal, chest area, I was a little bit worried that it wasn't going to be balanced well, and I was pleasantly surprised to find out that it's just really, really well designed. So we do add the 3 legs there, and then we can start working on some of the finer details. There isn't as much Technic in this set as I thought there would be. You can see a little bit here, which is kind of where the arms are going to be attached to, and finishing up this bag of pieces here, we are working on the kind of arm dual blaster there, and that attaches in a nice way. And then working on this bag of pieces, we have the other side's arm, which has its own kind of separate thing here. There are stickers in this set, not too many. Overall, I felt that they were fine, and I do talk about that more in the full review. So I did like how these blasters were put together. I really liked how they looked actually, and how they function and everything feels really good. And like I say, there's not an immense amount of Technic, and I think that's a real accomplishment here. Onto the next bag of pieces, we actually start building some of kind of the spine area, these panels kind of on the back of the Droideka that give it its kind of classic round sort of shape and allow it to get into ball formation here. So you can sort of see that come together. And then there's some pretty interesting Technic used in order to attach this kind of spine to the rest of the model. And it's a little hard to kind of convey here, but there are some spots where I was like, oh, this doesn't feel finished, and then it wasn't till maybe several steps later that it felt finished. Now onto the next bag of pieces, we build out the head area, or the face, so to speak, and then we can build the display stand with the placard and the special brick, and then we can build kind of a minifigure scale Droideka here, which was better than I thought, but maybe also could be improved upon. So that's kind of everything, and then I do spend some time here kind of going through the transformation, but I also do that and talk my way through it in the full review. So now on to my review for this set. Okay, so here we have the new Lego Star Wars Droideka display set. This is pretty cool. I actually thought the build was really interesting, and I think I didn't know exactly where it was going right away, but I ended up really liking it, and I think it's a great looking model. I'm pretty impressed with some of the stuff that's in here. So very cool, and there's some good amount of stuff to look at, so we will get into it. And there are no minifigures in this set. This does come with the 25 years of Lego Star Wars, and I know there are certain sets that are like 18 plus sets that might come with an exclusive minifigure. And there's just other sets that come with minifigures. For example, the like boarding the Tantive 4, I think, came with an exclusive minifigure, and the more recent R2-D2 model for like $100 came with a minifigure that was seemingly unrelated to the model. But this one doesn't have a minifigure. It does, however, have kind of a minifigure version of a Droideka here. So I'll show that first, even though it's the last thing you put together. And it's I think pretty good. I don't know if they've done other versions of the Droideka from Phantom Menace and Clone Wars stuff. I think most famously like Phantom Menace. I don't know if they've done other kind of mini figure scale versions, and this one's a pretty good approximation. It's not perfect, but it gets a lot of things right. So it does have the clear like disc and a couple clear studs there for the base. We use one of those pieces with the like claw and the bar element. We use these kind of barb elements or claws for the 3 legs, which are pretty good. They're attached to a piece that is this piece here. It's got like a spot that it could receive a bar. It's got bars on the side. It's sort of triangular in shape, but it's an interesting piece that's not used a ton. I think that's the right choice here. Then we build the kind of upper body here, and that just gets clipped on, so this can actually kind of bend a little bit here. I don't know if this one really like folds up into a ball to roll into battle necessarily, but that's okay. And it's very sleek. It's very small. There's not a ton of pieces here. A lot of 1x1s are used here. A little bit of like bracket use in there, and then building this up, getting the right color blocking, and then having that nice kind of curve around the back. I think that's all pretty good. We have the couple like lever or joystick type pieces here for like some antenna or eyes or blasters or whatever they might be, and then we have these arms with the blasters there that kind of hang out the side. And I actually thought this connection here where we put this kind of elbow joint piece over the bar end of those little like that claw piece that clips to this modified plate is longer than I think it maybe should be, so it feels like the overall like shape is maybe a little bit off, and it's not super easy to like get this into a way that I think super authentically emulates like what they look like in the films and other media and what they look like in the main model here. But this is still pretty well done. The colors are there, and I think it's nice to have a version of this. I would have to look. I'm sure there are other people who have done like minifigure scale versions of Droideka, maybe as mocks, or if Lego has done it themselves, to look at and see, because I do wonder if there's a better way to do this. I think this is fine for display here. It's not perfect, and it does leave me thinking that there maybe is a more improved way of kind of achieving this, but overall still kind of cool to get here. And then the other thing we'll look at right away is the stand. So a lot of these 18 plus stand things have a stand and have like a display plaque. It's not a sticker, it is printed. There are stickers in this set, but not for the kind of placard here that has some information about the Droideka there, their affiliations, weapons, equipment, height. And then, of course, we have the brick here with the 25 years of Lego Star Wars, which is nice. I don't know if every year we're going to get kind of commemorative things at this point, but I do have like the 40-year Return of the Jedi here, and I thought there have been some other ones too. I actually have a bunch of these Return of the Jedi ones, and I'll have a bunch of these 25 years of Lego Star Wars ones, because I thought the Tantive and the Invisible Hand and the Millennium Falcon MIDI scale also came with these, and maybe several other sets. So that's pretty cool. Production work is pretty good. I always like this stuff. I actually have the BD1 set that's a big buildable figure, and I have the Imperial droid drone thing as well. I think I have, what was the other one here? Yeah, so I have the BD1. I have the D0 or DO as well, which that one was kind of cool. I actually really liked that one, and those both had kind of display plaque things like this, as well as, you know, small versions of the droid. So that's pretty cool to have. I like these kind of things. It's another like fun display oriented adult kind of thing that's, you know, not quite the same as the helmet displays, not quite the same as the MIDI scale displays, but like another form of something like that, and wouldn't feel necessarily out of place next to some of those other kinds of things, and as well as the dioramas, which I do very much like as well. So cool to get this. Super simple build. I was actually a little bit surprised they didn't add a piece on the back here that connects these modified plates with the bar that or with the like ratchet hinge area here. I'm surprised they didn't put one of those like inverted slope pieces in there with the like hollow studs on top to kind of secure that together. But it should be fine either way. It doesn't seem like it comes off like too easily, so you can move this on the ratchet hinges. If you get a little bit you know, more aggressive with it, they might come off. So that's that. And then the rest of the build is, whoops, I broke that. Okay. Oh boy, oh boy. The rest of the build is going to be the full display model of the Droideka here. So we can take a look at this, and getting into this, I'm going to stand it up here, but for a lot of it I might want to kind of have it on its side so I can get a good view of everything. But it does stand up. It feels pretty stable. It looks pretty good. It doesn't need like any additional kind of base or anything like that to be stable here, and I think it's a pretty well designed model. I'll show the instruction booklet just because it does have some information and pictures in here that are you know, in a lot of the 18 plus sets, they'll maybe talk about the designer, and they'll talk about why they maybe wanted to do this set, as well as some other things here. So that's pretty cool. I think there's probably some little notes throughout here as well, although I used the digital instructions, and now I don't seem to recall seeing anything. Occasionally they would put in some of these sets like little notes about different things, so maybe this one doesn't have that, but that is okay. But we have this model. So when you start building it, you start building the kind of waist hip area here that the three legs are attached to, and they did this in a really nice way, because it does have this three-legged pattern here. So in this case, the angles aren't all the same. Like this angle and this angle and this angle are not all identical. I don't know if in the canon of Star Wars they are, but I thought the way that they did this was really, really well done, and pretty cool. It used a piece in a way that I don't know if I've seen used quite like this. So in order to achieve this, they actually used two of those like bent mech arms and legs that are used for the Star Wars mechs, the Marvel mechs, and other stuff, Ninjago mechs. So they have those kind of bent arms and leg pieces, and you use two of those to kind of branch off and make that shape. So it's kind of forms this triangle here, which I think is really good. Overall, I think the colors are good down here, and a lot of the shape and design is pretty good. This is a piece that I don't know if I've seen a ton of. I maybe feel like I've seen it in a Speed Champion or in a different car vehicle build, but I thought this was a cool piece, used nicely here. Overall, I think this whole waist section is very sturdy. It has a good amount of bulk to it, a good amount of weight. I think there's a way that this could be built where it feels sort of unbalanced, and this feels really balanced, and I think a lot of that has to do with everything that's put in here. So we do have some extra kind of little greebly details, you know, using this tile with the kind of handlebar here, and then putting this like ratchet joint piece coming up through there is pretty neat. Everything feels very finished in here, even from the sides, which is cool. The legs you don't build right away next, but I'll talk about them. The legs are all done the same. You do 3 of them. They're pretty easy. They can be detached relatively easily, and that's actually part of that's kind of a feature there. So we use some of these kind of angled Technic pieces here, some Technic axles. These bricks have the axle hole through them, same here. And then we build up some kind of using these like slope pieces there to kind of give a little more detail and more shape. And I think, you know, this stuff up here is quite good as well. So you do build 3 of those. There's a little bit of repetition in that. I just built them all at the same time. It wasn't too big of a deal. And I wasn't sure how stable these would be. You can see there's a little bit of give there, a little bit of wiggle room, but when they're sat down, it's actually pretty good. And, you know, having a 3-point kind of stance like this allows for a lot more stability than potentially a 4-legged thing, which is really cool. There's something interesting that maybe seems counterintuitive to that. So I think this accomplishes a lot, and that's due to its overall design from the get-go here. So that's really nice. Then you build up this kind of middle section. I'm calling this the abdominal section, even though it doesn't have abdominals in the typical way. It doesn't have muscles, but it almost looks like it might, but it's got this plate here with the different levels, which is pretty cool. The majority of this piece, this whole section, is a 4x4 plate, and then these 1x4 bricks with the like opposite ratchet joints on either side, and then the 2x2 brick with the ratchet joints on either side, the top and the bottom, and then the same over here. So it's very few pieces in there, and it still looks pretty good. It does get covered up a bit, which helps, I think, and these ratchet joints are really good to have a lot of stability as well, so it does make a lot of use of those in this set. Moving up from that, we have kind of the chest area, if this is maybe the head area again, even though that doesn't really make a ton of sense. That's what I'm going to call that. And this too was, I thought, designed in a really nice way. For the majority of it, you're building it like this, so the studs would be up here, but then it does get turned on the side when you attach it. This can like move a bit because it has these ratchet joints in here, and we can take a look at this. Overall, the shape is really good. Again, it feels like there's maybe some delicate balancing work done in designing this to make sure this is relatively stable, and the center of gravity is I think well accomplished here. And then even if it was like a little bit top heavy or back heavy, like on the back leg, because the way that these legs are constructed and the kind of nature of 3-legged things like this, it feels very, very stable, which is cool. So this is a good amount of bulk up here in kind of that chest area, and I think that's really, really great. It does, in my opinion, help to have such bulk here, to maybe take away from some of the Technic that is visible. I don't really mind visible Technic, especially for something like a droid like this, but I think like meshing it together in a way really helps. So I think overall this looks pretty good. We have nice use of jumpers, nice use of this kind of gear groove piece here. We use some ingots in here, and overall the shaping of this is quite good. We do have a couple of the 2x2 tiles with the Technic pin, vertical Technic pin coming out of it in the center, and that's actually what you attach the arms to. So the arms are identical as well, and they're just changed right to left. Again, we have a little bit of like Technic up here that's kind of visible, feels fine to me, but then we do use some ratchet joints in kind of the elbow area there, and the arms sort of are built to not be hands necessarily or arms, but like blasters. So there's a cool little kind of play function or a little thing here. These arms can move back and forth, which is nice, and they can also move up and down because they're on these ratchet joints here. This is sort of just ornamental. It's not really connected to additional support at all, but you can kind of get these in a orientation that feels right for them, so that's nice. You could also theoretically, put them up a little more and stuff like that, so that's very good. There are stickers in this set, I guess I forgot to mention that, but you can see kind of on the shoulder area here, stickers on there, one there, two on these slopes and one beneath it, and then same on the other side for the arm, and then there's some stickers on the back, and I think that's all of them. So here is the sticker sheet. Overall, the color match for these stickers is pretty good. It's okay. I think you can see it a little bit, but for the most part, the way that these stickers are designed, the graphics that are on them are simple enough that I feel like the edge of the sticker kind of isn't a huge issue, and for the most part they do cover like the majority of the piece. I thought this was interesting, the stickers on this piece, because that's not just a 1x2 tile, it's actually the 2x2 with two studs and then an area that's kind of more of a tile, and so the sticker is only going to be on like half of that modified plate there, or modified tile there, but I think the stickers were used sparingly to relatively good effect, which is nice to see. And back to the arms, after I talked about the sticker on the shoulder there, I think this whole like dual blaster setup was very well designed. It's pretty cool. It does make use of some Technic stuff, some bar elements, Technic bushing kind of pieces, and then also like combining it through the center, which is where it attaches to the ratchet joint kind of at the elbow area there, with some brackets and some like system stuff, some Lego brick system stuff on top. I feel like looks really cool. So I liked how these came together more than I thought I would. It wasn't as tedious as I thought it would be, and I think the overall effect, the look of them at the finished product here is quite good. We also do use some of the flexible whip pieces on both of the arms to kind of make some cables or wire here. So there's two coming out of the blaster kind of at the back that go up to parts of like the shoulder. There's also these ones that come from the shoulder to more to the chest area there. Same on the other side. They can't like rotate at all up and down. They are fixed. They can move back and forth like this to get its kind of firing action there. It's not a super dramatic move. There's not a ton of range of motion, but it is enough, and it does make a satisfying sound, I feel. So that's pretty cool there. And then the rest of it is kind of this spine area and the head. So this was really unique. When I started working on it, I wasn't sure what this Technic stuff was going to all amount to, and I'm kind of impressed by it. There was some things that were done that I was like, wait, is that right? Am I missing something? Because like there are certain times where you might put a piece like through some of these Technic pieces in here, like these half beam pieces or whatever, and then not like put it through all the way, like you might do it on one side and not the other, but then when it gets to the end, you get it all together there. You do see some colors in here. You know, the tan is maybe something that stands out a little bit. Doesn't bother me too much. A lot of this droid is gray, light bluish gray, dark bluish gray, a little bit of black in there, and then we have the kind of brown. So I don't mind the tan that much. It doesn't feel like egregious to me. I'm glad there's not like a ton of blue, for example, being seen. So I think that's pretty well done. And overall, I thought this whole kind of contraption for the Technic at the top was really neat. And then to kind of get this curvature of the spine area, we do a bunch of like sub-assemblies. They are all attached with the kind of ratchet joints here, including the kind of 5 little ones on the end here. So these can all be articulated there even more. This could be potentially flattened out. I don't know if the Technic structure that it's attached to is going to allow for me to do this one, but all along this kind of spine area here, we have these ratchet joints there, which hold its shape really good, and I think do so with very minimal gapping, which is nice. So when I see these sections between the panels, they feel very like surface level, and then underneath I feel like that gap is not as present, and that feels authentic to the design. So that's very cool. Looking at kind of the neck area, again, that's got the ratchet joint there. Oops, lost a bit of that one. Did I get it back on there? Yes. Okay, so this can bend down a little bit, and then the head area can bend up a little bit or down a little bit there, which is important for some of the things that this is able to do. I think the head is very simple. It's well done. It looks the point. It uses these lipstick pieces, which is a really good use of the piece. You put the red kind of lipstick area into these like hollow studs or these candlesticks, but then because they're dual molded with that gray, you can still see the little bit of red at the base of those, and I think that works really well for this in particular. So that's really great to see there, and overall I think that very much looks the part. So like front on, it looks really good. The profile is really good. The silhouette of this overall is iconic, immediately recognizable, overall well designed, and the build was fun. I thought it was going to maybe be too much Technic. I didn't find that to be the case. There is some, but it's not, I would say less than like half of the build. It doesn't use a ton of Technic for like a lot of the structure or the core of the build necessarily, like down here in this section and in this section. So a little bit of Technic in the legs makes sense for me. A little bit of Technic up here I think is appropriate as well. And then there's even kind of less in the arm area. So I think that's all done really well. It's a good mix of system and Technic stuff. I think this is not an explicitly Technic set, and that feels true and right to me, so I'm very glad about that. I believe they did make a version of this in maybe the early 2000s that was a fully Technic model, and so I'm glad that they went the brick system for this one, or just the Lego system for this one, because I think it looks really cool and feels like it's used modern pieces, used modern building techniques and design philosophy to capture something that maybe in the past was really difficult to do with the brick and stud based system. So the Technic system might have been the best option. And then this, you know, can stand next to this. They don't attach in any meaningful way, but it's a nice little kind of pair here. And I just think this has a wonderful look overall. It feels like 360 degrees all the way around. It looks the part. It doesn't feel unfinished anywhere. I mean, even little things like this, like using this kind of hinge piece there as kind of greebling detail, works for me. Sure, we see a little bit of the back of that plate there. Doesn't bother me at all. And there's some kind of more additional functionality of this, because as we saw in the instruction manual, one of the kind of iconic things of this droid, these droidekas, is that they kind of roll in and then deploy their shields perhaps, and they roll. And this can actually get into a ball kind of formation, which I think is pretty important, and I'm glad that I was able to do so. I think I wasn't sure how it was going to be done, but and I don't think it's perfect necessarily, but the instructions do include some direction to kind of transform this to this. And so we will kind of go through that. So the first thing it instructs to do is move these kind of superficial support things there. Then we can fold the arms in using the ratchet joints, and do that on this side as well. So we get something like that. Then I think I wasn't sure what this was indicating at first, but I believe it is indicating folding this down, and then I wasn't sure if these panels were meant to go inside of the arms or outside of the arms, but you fold that down. You could fold the head down as well, and then the kind of final thing here is, let me see if I can get this a little more rounded there, something like that. And then you can just take off the legs and you turn them around. So we pop out these axles, add them back in, and I think the legs turning around does a lot of the heavy lifting to kind of get this into its ball form, and then it can kind of sit relatively stable like that. I don't know if I have everything correct here. I think I do, but I'm just kind of going over it, and it kind of gets into this spherical shape. You could theoretically have this kind of out more like that. I think that looks a little more round there. So kind of using this one leg, this leg, and then kind of that spine area down to the neck and the head creates something that's relatively round. Looking at it from the back, this feels right to me, and the front feels right to me too, and then it can unfold. It's not a super elegant transformation. It does take a little bit of deconstruction just because of the way the legs are done. I actually think that's pretty okay, and it can, kind of roll. I'm not too worried about anything falling off of this if I were to roll it. I don't think it's maybe the best option or the intended option, and it's not I think like getting over the last kind of bit here, like getting from that to that, might be a little bit difficult with some of the form here, but I think this is really great. I think it looks nice to display this like this. I also think it looks really good in its standing kind of unfurled position, and it's just a nice little thing that's really important for this this thing canonically, this droid, this not person or this character, but this droid canonically, this is like a big thing, and I think this is like the first way we see the Droideka in the film. We see them kind of roll up before we see them kind of unfurl into the standing kind of configuration there. So it seemed like this was maybe part of the design where they were like, it must be able to do this. If not, I would hope so. And if it wasn't a requirement, I'm really glad that it's there. So this feels really, really nice, and I can get it back to its kind of standing formation relatively easy. I think it's best to pull these legs off by kind of grabbing it by these disc pieces here. And do I have that on correctly? There we go. And switch that one around, switch this one around, and then we can kind of unfurl this area. We can fold these out, get the head up again. Maybe I unfurled it a little bit too much, and then we can fold the arms down. Not a big deal. I kind of like it with the arms with a little extra bend there. And now we're pretty much back to the standing formation, which, it gets back into this pretty quick. It takes, I think, a little bit more to kind of fold it down into itself, but not too much time. And I think that's really, really great. So that's pretty cool, and I think that's everything here. I'll show the extra pieces. You do get some. You actually get a fair amount. There's a lot of little 1x1 pieces in this. You get a couple duplicates, so you do get 2 spare of the flexible kind of whip pieces. Then your 1x1s, your tiles, your studs, some Technic bits in here, the lipstick, some bar pieces, just all your little pieces, light pieces, and such. So these are about what you would expect, I think, about what I would expect from the extra pieces in this set, which is all right. And this set is 583 pieces, and it retails for $65. I paid $65 for this set. I think so. The price per piece is not the be-all end-all metric, and often for like display-oriented things like the dioramas, I think a lot of times have kind of pretty bad price per piece ratios, but that doesn't necessarily mean they are that bad of a value. It just kind of depends. I think the helmets can kind of go either way. The MIDI scale stuff, the value can be sort of interesting. The comparison between like the Tantive and the price of the Invisible Hand versus the price and piece count of the Tantive versus the MIDI scale Millennium Falcon and everything like that. Seems like it's a little bit off. I think the sub $100 is great, and 65 feels, I think, okay. I think I would love 60. 55, 57, anything lower would be good, but I actually don't feel bad about this. Frankly, I couldn't remember when I saw this in store. This is one I was able to get a little bit early before it officially released. I just wasn't able to build it and talk about it right away, but I did make a community post about it on my YouTube, and I was actually surprised when I saw it on the shelf and saw the price. I think I was anticipating this being $75, $80, and it's not. So it's I think they maybe could have charged more than this. I'm so glad they didn't. In fact, I wish they maybe made it a little bit cheaper, but as far as my expectations are concerned, it did kind of exceed my expectations in that it was a little bit cheaper than I anticipated it being. I think the model looks really good. You do get a lot of tiny pieces. Nothing I don't think is specifically like new or recolored, but I think there's like a lot of design work that went into this, and it's pretty accomplished. I think for a display set, it looks really, really great. It doesn't necessarily feel like a toy necessarily, even though it could be. I'd be interesting to see the kind of Star Wars construction figures that I don't even know if they sell them anymore, but they did for quite some time, and there's a store near me that still has them, that have like these characters with faces that are weird, I feel. But I don't know what the scale is between those characters and this. It might be that these are almost in scale, and then it could be kind of neat here. So I would have to see and take a look at one of those Star Wars construction figures there. But it's not necessarily a toy. It is in the 18 plus kind of realm. I don't know how difficult of a build it was necessarily, but I thought it was really enjoyable, like more enjoyable than I anticipated it being. So this did just exceed my expectations in a lot of ways. I think it looks better than I would have thought it was going to look. The features and functions are better than I thought they would be, and the build was more interesting, more varied, more dynamic, and more unique than I thought it would be. Very happy about the printed stuff here. Stickers don't bother me too much, and if I'm talking about value, I don't think this is the type of set where you use these stickers that they would be prints. Like this one on this slope, maybe, because those are identical. For these four, those are identical. I suppose these could have been printed and those are identical. These ones up here, these are going to be like two separate prints, the way that this is done, instead of just making like identical stickers, putting them on identical pieces, but kind of turned away. And the reason I say that is just because there's, if you look at the line thickness, or there's like more black towards the kind of upper side of these versus the lower side. Same for the one in the middle and same for the one on the side. So they would have to do two separate prints for these pieces because they're on the same piece, but the stickers are going different ways. I think I'm understanding that correctly, but like for some of these, they maybe could have done prints and that would have been really nice. I don't think it's necessary. I would much rather have the display placard and the commemorative brick be printed and then have a few stickers on the model. So I think that is all right. And yeah, I don't know. I think $65 feels pretty okay, pretty average, maybe even below average than what I expected in 2024 for a licensed display adult set. I find typically they are carry a little bit of a price premium, and so I guess I don't know if I would have been surprised if this was $80, even if it was just slightly less than 600 pieces. That doesn't feel crazy to me. I don't know if I would buy it right away if that had been the case. So I think $65 is actually kind of a fair price. But I definitely would have loved to get it a little bit cheaper. I don't know if this is one of the sets that when it released internationally, some regions can get, discounts right away at launch. So if this were to get 20% off, that'd be like $13 off, and so we would be down to what, 52, and I think $52 would be a excellent deal for this. Even $6.50 off, which would bring it just below the $60 mark, I think would be like really, really good. So it doesn't feel like the MSRP for this, the suggested retail price, is too far off, and so for that I am grateful. Very, very fun, very cool. I feel like the value's fine, and this is a nice model with some cool little features. So that's my thoughts on that. I like it. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up and give it a like. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button down below so you can stay up to date on all the LEGO videos I'll be doing here in the future, including more of the new LEGO Star Wars, some old LEGO Star Wars, maybe retired stuff that I haven't ever looked at, but also some ones that are relatively new, but I still haven't looked at on my channel yet. And then tons of other LEGO sets from all different themes, all different shapes, size, price point, piece count, old, new, retired, used, all different stuff. So subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming LEGO videos, and subscriptions help me a lot. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so I hope I can get there sometime, and I just appreciate anybody that subscribes or likes or comments or any of that stuff. It's very, very helpful, and I appreciate it, so it means a lot to me. So thank you very much. And if you wanted to support my videos and support this channel here in a different way, you could do that here on YouTube with membership, supers, and thanks. And I have the Patreon. It's in the video description. It's on my channel page, patreon.com/sobricks. So maybe consider checking those things out. Again, it does really, really help, so I appreciate it. And with all that said, until next time, thanks. Bye.